Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for waiting. We are going into the elimination match, and it's kind of a weird elimination match because it's Solar versus herO. I actually thought both these guys would be in the winner's match today. It's crazy to think one of them is going to be out of the GSL after this best of 3.
Yeah, I mean, don't call it the group of death for nothing. Even Ryung showing up, 2-0ing Solar to start off the night. Now Solar, the reigning champ, fighting for his GSL life here against a herO who is very, very good at PvZ. I mean, herO, his PvP is solid. His PvT, maybe not that good lately in terms of form, but PvZ, he has just been an absolute killer for as long as I can remember. He revolutionized the PvZ matchup for what feels like, you know, six to 9 months or so before the Zergs finally eventually, you know, figured that out. And the game continued to evolve, but he is still one of the best PvZ players, if not the best PvZ player in the world. And I could see herO actually taking this and going all the way to that final match. I think there's a real possibility that herO wins this, especially with all the bling he's got on his necklace. I think he's feeling confident.
He's got the gold, man. He's got the gold necklace on, that's for sure. We're going to go into this game. It's loading up right now. Site Delta for map 1 with Solar versus herO starting now. Solar here in the top left, herO in the bottom right. The games we saw from herO earlier, I don't think there's going to be representative of where he's at or what he can do. No. I mean, Cure came out so fast from California. Welcome.
I'm from California. Look at that. And Taro herO.
herO. Protoss speakers in the audience. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Cure came out so fast with his openers that herO is just victim to, you know, the kind of game that Cure was dictating here. But I think herO should look more solid and stronger if we get into a macro game where they can both develop a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like in PvZ there isn't too much the Zerg can throw at you at the top level that's going to just completely train wreck your game plan the same way that Cure did to herO in Game 1 and Game 2. And on herO, it is kind of on him. He didn't scout the Proxy T-Rex Marauder, and if you don't scout that build, it can just be game-ending. And the factory in the base, that's getting patched out eventually, right? It won't be too annoying, but I'm with you. It's not very indicative of where herO is at right now as a player. I think even if he wins this match and he goes up against Ryung, I don't think the PvTs he played against Cure are going to be at all relevant to what the expectation should be for him in that series. And I'm kind of curious what he has in store for us here in PvZ. herO has always been, you know, ever since he returned from military service, and even before then, he's always been one of the players that you want to watch to learn really how to ruin a Zerg's day, basically. He's kind of been a PvZ sniper.
Well, he so really figured out how to punish, you know, the way the Zerg operates and do it from a, you know, pretty unturtled position. Although I think turtling is pretty popular right now in PvZ. We'll see what kind of game we're going to get. I always look at herO's PvZ differently than any other Protoss player. There was a period where it almost looked like he was like a 4th race or something with the way he approached it.
Yeah, the first player to really go mass Blinkstalker.
Blinkstalker, Disruptor, yeah, Oracle's covering it. Kind of this active, aggressive play where it was not really about pushing. It was about coming in and doing damage and then running back out without losing very much. And over time, the Zerg just crumbles.
And mass expanding behind it, too.
Yeah, and sometimes
so many bases.
Even out-expanding the Zerg, which looked weird.
Yeah, looked weird, but was really fun to watch. Oh, this Adept, if he was a little bit faster, might have been able to get that creep tumor. Would have been very close, but instead just going to get some scouting information here coming in. Sees a drone count at the natural, nothing too crazy. As Solar's going for a relatively normal build. And same here for herO. I believe that was a 217 Stargate going down, which is about as fast as you can get it, unless you do some really crazy opening. And so Solar coming in now with the Overlord is going to see about as much as you can, given the positioning of herO structures here. Of course, against a Stargate, you generally don't want to go double Overlord Scout, because if they see 2 Overlords as the Protoss player, they usually just follow up with a Void Warrior or a Phoenix after the Oracles and get a lot of easy kills. So herO's going to take that really fast 3rd base here, drop it down, and Now we'll get to see exactly what his tech of choice behind this is going to be. herO, I know on Site Delta in the past, a couple of months ago, he was a really big fan of opting for a Twilight Council and going for Mass Clave Adepts, just as an opening to pair up with the Oracles, but online cups versus coming here offline in GSL, we have a lot of time to prepare. We could see something a little bit different coming out from him here. Very interested to see where this goes.
Yeah. So for now, it's going to be a little bit slow. The Lings are going to come up here, try to get us around. A lot of times you'll see a pylon adjacent to the Nexus, so you can kind of wedge the Adepts in there. But that was a pretty good catch from Solar. He comes out and wipes out that one Adept. Twilight Council and Forge are coming down. All signs that Protoss is going to need to tech up for a while before any action can really occur. And I don't know if there's much of an incentive for Zerg to try to attack in here, so I think we're just going to continue to see development on both sides.
Yeah, especially with the Oracles out on the field, it will be tough for Solar to really get too much done unless he heavily commits to a push. Something like a Queen drop or Queen Nidus, something that a Dark would do. But Solar instead is content to pretty much macro back at home, play a more defensive game so far. Just poking and prodding around the map with these Lings, trying to keep tabs on his opponent. And herO is going to go for +1 and Blink. So not an Adept opening this time, not a Glaives opening at least. Now, I'm very curious to see how many gateways herO is going to throw down, because there's a couple different ways you can play this here as herO. You can try to go for a relatively low gateway count and continuously produce Stalkers and eventually take a 4th, add in some additional tech. Or we might see herO just go full gateway man, as he is very wont to do.
Yeah, here we go. This is the herO I know.
And it's the gateway explosion.
And it's also important to note where he puts the gateways.
Yeah.
Like old day PvZ, you'd have all the gateways in your main, like where they're safe. But what he does is he creates walls with them so that he can't be counterattacked, so he can stay present on the map. Now, it's been a little bit. I mean, I haven't gotten to cast that many herO games, but I want to see, you know, when it really counts here versus Solar, how well this does. Because Zergs have had a little bit of time to digest and process the style of play. State, I know when you and I were casting a lot of this, it was like kind of crazy to see, right? We just didn't know that this was like an approach you could have, but now it's really like part of the meta. It's an understood thing, so I want to see how Solar handles it.
Yeah, behind all these gateways, herO is actually mixing in a relatively fast second Forge, so he's going to be prioritizing upgrades quite a bit. This tells me that it's not going to be necessarily an all-in here, and in fact, that probe coming out to take the 4th base, this is kind of looking reminiscent to the old herO style, where he just focuses on getting a ton of Blink Stalkers and macros up a storm behind it. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that Nexus get thrown down any moment here. Solar coming in with a very clutch scout, seeing that double Forge. Does let him know this isn't going to be too heavily committed here from herO, but still, there's a lot of aggressive potential with the army that herO is amassing on the ground. Worth noting, by the way, worker counts dead even. herO's been doing a really good job keeping tabs on Solar, and also this shows that Solar is paying a lot of respect to herO too. He is not overdroning. He understands how capable herO is of just being explosively aggressive. Finally, Protoss working their way across the map.
Yeah, so this is the moment we've been waiting for, is the pressure. How does Zerg deal with it? You know, how nimble can you be with the Stalkers? Can you get in, do the damage, and get out? You're going to be very reliant on Blink. You want to let the shield soak up some of the damage, pull away, use the Oracles to make it, you know, a little bit, the Zerg's in a little bit more jeopardy if they commit into this. And you just kind of shave down the Zerg over time. Now you got to be careful, because when you're fighting on creep, the Zerg is going to have that speed boost, so they can get in there and do quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, Solar was able to shave away the Stalker count a fair bit there. And actually going to go for a Lurker Den and Hive Tech. So it seems like Solar's playing for a really heavily ground-based style here, should he go into those Lurkers heavily. And that's kind of a pretty solid response to what herO is doing, unless herO can completely pull him apart with a gateway-based army and just catch him off guard by hitting a base, you know, maybe at the 12 o'clock when Solar expands there, or down at the 9 o'clock position. herO definitely will have the mobility advantage, but for now, Solar does seem very stable, working his way all the way up to 85 drones. herO back at home, adding into robotics facility. 4 Templar as well, getting Storm. So he's committing quite heavily into ground, and I'm thinking back to Group B when we saw Stats and Classic both play a relatively fast Sky Toss transition in pretty much all of their PvZ games, I think. And herO is going for a bit of an older style, something that he's more comfortable with, but the problem is that eventually against the Lurkers, unless you are able to find windows as Protoss to get significant damage in, their army is just going to beat your army. Because Lurkers are so hard to deal with, especially with a low-tech army. This is almost like, if you think back to Heart of the Swarm or something, it's almost like the Protoss is the Zerg going Roach Ravagers, or Roach Ravager, or just mass Roaches. And the Zerg is the one that's making the high-tech units. It's almost a role reversal in that sense. And it would be really tough for herO, unless he's able to catch Solar out of position, to actually get big damage done. And so far, Solar's defense has been pretty much impeccable.
Yeah, I like the Lurker approach here. It's like, how are you going to come in and shave anything off if you attack enemy and you lose more, right?
I'm waiting to see if we have additional Stargates come down for herO, but he just really might want to play the game where he's going to try and keep Solar pinned on 4 bases.
And
We'll
so,
see.
you know, there hasn't been much of a splash here from herO. He's tried to come out, but, you know, Solar's basically disengaged and then just turtled into Lurker tech. herO's going to try to come up here from the very top. I don't know how much he can get done with this, though. There's so many Lings out. He's probably going to be forced to use a recall here.
Yeah, he might be. Those Lurkers all the way in the front, slowly creeping forward, now going into the middle, and it looks like Solar is a little bit disjointed up there in the top right, so herO is able to retreat with the majority of the Stalkers. Lurkers alone. Oh, this is such an ambitious move right here by
This is a little
Solar.
crazy. I don't know about this.
Oh, this is very risky. Zealots are warping in. If Solar doesn't get here to reinforce, these Lurkers might be dead, because herO's going to have a 360 surround in a second with a ton of storms.
Lurkers are considerably worse if you can get them from a bunch of different angles. There's a lot of them, so a lot of these Zealots are still falling, but we're seeing that Lurker count get lower and lower and lower.
Yep.
The Archon here hitting from the side. All these Lurkers are going to fall. Man, Solar, he's having a rough day here.
That trade wasn't the worst for him because the reinforcements came in and we're actually able to get some damage done on the left side. But yeah, that is not how you want to use your Lurkers in that situation, because now the Lurker count has been reset down to 0. The standing army for Solar is really weak. Yeah, Mothership immediately getting started here.
Well, he's going to be able to hit when the eggs are still morphing here.
Oh my goodness, yeah,
so,
this is going to be a ton of damage.
I mean, I don't know that herO can win the game outright here, but this is going to be bad because 12 o'clock's going to fall. The Immortal gets surrounded, not bad, but then again, maybe the least important unit out of everything we've got here for Protoss, considering what Zerg is fighting with, which is Hydras and Queens.
Yeah, all the Lurkers that morphed in just got immediately killed, and now herO blinking into an arc right now. There is a lot of Zerg here, so I think Solar should eventually be able to clean this up.
These Immortals in the back are looking pretty good now, with the Roaches coming into the mix.
Yeah, Solar's taking a ton of damage. He's just barely holding on here at this 4th base. Reinforcements of Lings and Hydras are coming in.
Dude, Zerg's taking the top. I'm sorry, Protoss is taking the top right.
Yeah, herO just continuing to expand. Mothership almost complete. War Immortals getting added in. Shield upgrades already coming through now for herO. That 2-4 is really paying off. I mean, the fact that Immortal was able to tank up so much damage just really shows the power of the 2-Forge here. Is there's no melee upgrades right now for Solar. So the fact that he has to make Lings like this to try and reinforce quickly, it's not very good for him. It almost reminds you of the game versus Ryung, where he had some early Ultras and some early Lings with no melee upgrades against somebody that just had +2 armor already on the map.
Yeah. And now with the next wave coming in here, I'm curious if Solar can hang on. Like, he barely survived that last attack.
Yeah, and this is going to be a 2-prong attack.
Yeah.
Mothership coming in on the left side with a ton of Zealots, I think, over here in the top right.
So he's got that Lurker bulk out again, which is good. But, wait.
Oh, he's getting pulled out of position. That hatchery, if it gets right-clicked, is instantly going down to these Zealots.
I'm surprised he didn't actually right-click it right now, but I guess it doesn't matter. The Zealots are going to have their way with that location over there. And here we go. This hatchery is going to go down. And basically for free. I mean, normally you'd think at least the Zealots would be traded out, but he's not even able to get over there and fight it. The Zealots are going to just make sure he's going to come up a little bit further here. He gets it out. He identifies where the Lurkers are, too. So now I think the Protoss can come in here and poke out the other base and knock Zerg onto 3 bases.
Oh, there's even more Lurkers, actually. There's 15 Lurkers on the map. I didn't even notice these
entire
ones on the
supply
left
is
side,
Lurkers. All right, GG. More Lurkers than drones.
Yeah, that was
more Lurkers than viewers in this game right now.
A ton of Lurkers. I mean, I felt like here Solar's position wasn't that bad until he walked across map with completely unprotected Lurkers.
He's having a bad day.
That was a full 360 surround. There were Zealots that warped in at the linear third.
Well,
there was an army at the triangle third.
Yeah, how often do we ever see Lurkers get surrounded? Almost never, and that's because you know you need to stay back at angles with lurkers.
I feel like if Solar made that move and he had a modest amount of supporting units with it, that's a game-winning move. That's a position that's very hard to dislodge for the Protoss player. You can get a ton of damage done. But it didn't really play out for Solar the way that he was hoping. I think he was expecting to be able to reinforce with the rest of his units a little bit more quickly there.
Yeah.
But the fact that all of the lurkers came in completely unprotected was just, I mean, that's not how it went to plan. That was really rough.
No. And I mean, even at the end there, he wasn't able to cover his bases. I mean, when you get that many lurkers and lose them like that, you've completely lost any control of the game. It's weird, too, because it looked to me like there was no way that here was going to do any damage when the lurkers were turtled. I thought the play would be to then just take another base and keep camping and teching. But yeah, when you move out on the map like that, I mean, it's a big risk for sure.
It can be a game-winning play, but only if there's significant support on the ground. Because I think what Solar was trying to do was hit a timing window before there's any sky toss transition.
Yeah,
just get on top of a base. I mean, if he was able to get on one of either the third base or the fourth base with those lurkers, you know, siege the front, find out where the army is, and then move to the unprotected base.
Yeah.
And if he did that with some Hydras, some Roaches with that army, then suddenly it looks very different. But just the fact that everything was so disjointed from Solar's side, it feels like kind of the theme of today for him is just the army movement hasn't really been great. I'm thinking of the game on Alcyone versus Ryung, where he was running a pretty low-tech composition against mech that eventually came into Ghost Mech, and the trades were not cost-efficient, but they were good enough for a while because he was able to keep Ryung from taking a base on the side, and Ryung was almost out of money. He was like 150 supply. Solar had a huge bank, but then there was one overextension, and then there was another overextension from the Zerg, and suddenly Terran had all map control. And I feel like that was almost the same story here for Solar. He handled the early game defense very well against a hero that was active with Link Stalkers, was able to get up to lurker tech. He got a good number of lurkers out as well, was able to expand to 4 or 5 bases, and then he moves cross map with the lurkers, and they just get cleaned up because it's out of position. Guys, we're going to go into game 2. herO leading 1-0 in the elimination match. I feel like I was going to say more there, but I forgot what the name of the map was. Go into Alcyone.
Okay, Solar in the top right, herO in the bottom left. So far, Solar has not had a good game, or at least not one where he can close it out. He's had moments of brilliance. It looked like he was, at the very peak of his whole career not long ago. But today, this is a real challenge. If he's going to get out of this group, he has to win a lot of games back-to-back.
Florida, USA, welcome.
Yeah. So great to have an audience here tonight, guys.
People want to see Solar go to the round of 8 really bad. Foreign fans and Korean fans alike. But so far, it just hasn't really been his day.
Well, I mean, especially that last game was pretty bad. And the end of the second game versus Ryung was pretty bad.
Yeah, it seemed like the mid game was quite solid for Solar. I actually thought, I mean, we're going back to that game because it was just so mind-numbing.
Yeah.
The turnaround that happened, but...
Well, it was not your normal StarCraft game. I'll say that much. It was
neither was the previous one. It just feels like these overextensions are really coming back to bite him. So that's one of the reasons why we had that short pause between game 1 and game 2, is because Solar, he went to the bathroom. I think he collected himself a little bit.
Well, I think that's a smart move. I mean, you got to take advantage of all the aspects of the tournament that are available.
Right.
For some players, like, they're riding that momentum. They know what they did wrong in the game they lost. They want to get right back into it. And in other cases, it's like, okay, I need to take like 2 minutes and just clear my head and try to come back, with a reset mindset.
Yeah, because he's the reigning GSL champion, about to go 0-4 in this group and get eliminated first by Ryung and then by herO. And I could see against herO, but Ryung was his choice coming into this group, and it's almost...
Well, Ryung's been the wild card of this group in that, I've had so many days where I just see him play pretty well, but not up to, par compared to the other players and get flushed out. But here he's looked really, really good. Of all people to beat, Solar. Kind of crazy. This game is starting out very similar to the previous game. I wouldn't be shocked if herO just kind of does the same Stalker aggression, kind of gateways out on the map, blocking off counterattacks and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a couple different ways you can play it here as herO, but that certainly does seem to be his comfort zone. The fact that he played the meta a little bit differently than we saw in Group B from both Stats and Classic when they played against Dark is interesting to say the least, but I do like that he's kind of adapting a little bit of his play to the way the Korean meta is evolving in this matchup. I mean, I don't know how many motherships we've seen so far in the round of 16, but I guarantee you it's more than any other GSL code has.
Yeah. Void Ray coming up here.
Okay.
So this can oftentimes be like some of the most conservative and ambiguous positions for the Zerg, for the Proto. Like, let me rephrase this. When the Void Ray kills off the Overlord, Zerg really just doesn't know what's going on and doesn't have a way to find out for a while. So when you see a Void Ray, it never necessarily means one thing or the other, from what I understand.
Yeah, it's a good way to deny scouting here from Solar, because I think herO wants to be a little bit unpredictable in this match. He is going to follow it up with the Oracles, but even thinking back to game number 1, the Oracles really didn't get that much done. I think in total they got maybe 3 or 4 kills, and that's about
I think what you do is you see if you can do damage, but really you're hanging on to them because you want to pair them with your Stalkers later on.
Yeah, and secure the third base.
Yeah. So we got to wait and see what kind of game herO's going to bring here. It could be the same stuff we've expected. It could be something different.
2 more additional gateways getting thrown down, actually, with the Twilight Council. Relatively quickly here on the main base as well. So he wants to build this in a spot where Solar can't really scout it. He's not going for the gateway walls.
He's going to go for it at Adepts.
Glaives against Banelings. Oh, yeah. This could go quite badly for herO.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, one of these units is better than the other when they fight.
There is a world where herO is able to take some good fights around, like, minerals, for instance, with excellent splits, and somehow is able to pick off the Banelings, you know, either with Void Ray or with Oracles, although I think it might only just be the one Oracle. But on paper, this is looking pretty good for Solar thus far, especially if herO decides to get very aggressive with this.
Yeah, he is getting a Forge.
Now, if herO is able to catch wind that this is coming, because Solar is cutting at 42 drones, by the way. He's building nothing but Lings right now, so he wants to basically Baneling bust down the third base here.
Both these guys have different plans. They're not prepped for exactly what each other are doing.
They both want to attack into each other.
It seems like what's going to happen is that the composition is just bad for herO.
It's a lot of Banelings.
Well, hold on a second, because the Banelings aren't actually in the base, so there's that as well. So the Banelings could just wipe the base out, but then the Adepts could kill all the drones.
Yeah, so Solar is nothing back at home to defend this, really, actually. And Glaives is done, so herO now coming in. It's nothing but Queens and only a small number of Lings. Reinforcements coming in. herO, you got to build something to power. Oh, it's not in the right position. The Lings actually scoot past.
Oh,
this wall's going to break it down. He can get the Cybernetic Score if he wants it, or the Pylon. Adepts in the main base here of Solar getting even more damage done. Already 11 drones have gone down. Oh, recall coming in, but that means the Adepts might connect with the Banelings. Yeah, it's a nice surround though on the Nexus.
A lot of the Banes just connect with the workers instead. Still a decent amount of Lings over here. Both sides really suffering as far as economic loss goes.
Solar powering with 10 more drones back at home right now. I think he knows that this can't be a killing blow, but he's still looking for more damage. He wants to macro behind it. Battery getting focused down here at the third base as the Lings are retreating into the natural expansion here of herO. Even more probes going down. 43 workers to 42. Almost dead even when all is said and done after this. And I think when herO identifies that there aren't more reinforcements coming, he might just move across the map again.
Yeah, so this is a very funny interaction because the Adepts got in, they did kill a lot of workers. The Banes got in, and then they didn't end up killing the Adepts. I almost think it would have been better if he had just killed the Adepts of them and then left all the, like with the Banelings and let the Lings kill the workers. But instead the Banes killed the probes. So then the Lings could be cleaned up with the rest of the Adepts. Very, very funny back and forth. And now it's going to be herO once again trying to move in.
Coming into third base here. I think he's going to cancel the Shade and try and get these Queens. Last transfuse pops on that one, so it will get taken out. He almost has enough depth to two-shot these things. The Lings are going to get this around. Oh, those Baneling connections are going to be big because of it.
Well, he targets down that last Bane. He's going to Shade now over here and keep killing these workers.
3 more workers going down, but with 18 Lings in production, I feel like this might not be exactly the trade herO's going for, but also you're running an Adept composition that is going to scale really poorly over time.
Well, he's already switching into Stalkers.
Yeah.
He's getting those other upgrades.
I think in terms of cost, this wasn't the best for herO, but it's pretty much ideal in terms of getting value out of the units you've already made. And so he's going to throw away even more adepts here.
Yeah, you might as well just try to get any kind of value you can out of them.
Keep in mind, Solar was droning extremely hard after that attack. And with herO kind of throwing away those adepts, I guess trading out those adepts, he's been able to equalize workers again, even up 4 probes right now, and taking a 4th base faster than the Zerg.
This is wild.
2 Forge already going up here for herO. He's looking very solid in this matchup right now, Tasteless.
Well, I mean, herO is sort of getting to where he needs to be. We're getting back into that Stalker tech. We've got the double Forges just cranking out these upgrades. The Robo's coming along. And right now, it's just, it's Roaches, it's some Banes. But I'm worried that Solar's going to be too small growth-wise. Ooh, I love that. Oh, he actually gets the Mineral Mine out before he gets the kill.
Able to get 3 drones here. And you can see the army composition for Solar is going to be Roach Ravager Ling eventually coming through. Nice scout.
Yeah, he wants to make sure there's no base. It's going to be easily taken there on the right side. The 12 o'clock expansion is going to finish here for Solar, so he will have evened out versus herO. But keep in mind, Zerg want more bases than Protoss. So,
he's on 80 workers already.
Yeah, he's looking really scary, honestly.
Oh, this Void Ray is still alive as well. That's going to be hard for Solar to deal with.
Well, he's
Solar's
sending Queens across the
Queens.
map, which basically says he wants to, well, he was thinking about doing some kind of a timing. Oh, herO!
I mean, these adepts are getting so much done. The map control for herO is insane, especially with this one Void Ray.
Yeah, he's really, all over the place.
The fact that you can hold the center watchtower is so solid because the creep spread, this game has been so aggressive and so dynamic. Solar hasn't really gotten an opportunity to really extend this creep spread through the middle. And so the fact that herO can fight off creep in the middle of the map, this is barely on creep, but fight off creep and control this position to get scouting information is just absolutely so clutch. Now, be careful with those biles, herO. Maybe macroing a little bit back at home so he does eat some shots, but he has full map presence. All right, Ling's now coming in. If they get a surround on these Stalkers, it could be huge, but with another really big warp in, Warp Prism is able to evacuate from this position. Some Stalkers will be lost here on the retreat. Army supply very high here for Solar. herO needs to hang on.
Yeah, he's just got to try to deflect this next attack. herO's keeping ahead with the growth. He's just got a little bit of a weaker army, so he has to take the fights very carefully.
Vicious blink forward right there by herO, but it's been a good one so far. And these trades are so cost efficient for him.
I mean, this is the thing, right? As long as you don't lose the Stalkers, damage is real.
By the way, 83 workers here for herO to the 67 of Solar.
Yeah.
And the upgrades for herO are through the roof. +2 ground weapons is already done. +2 armor is on the way. +3 weapons is on the way. And so soon we're going to have 3-2 Zealots going against a Zerg that is relying relatively heavily on Lings. I know right now the composition is almost pure Roach Ravager, but eventually when the Remax comes through after a fight, you're going to be mixing in more Lings and Banelings, I think, here as Solar. Yeah, 32 more Lings in production. And as long as there's a +1 upgrade advantage for the Protoss in terms of attack versus armor, those Zealots are going to 2-shot. So his window for getting damage done is slowly closing because the economy for herO is so big. So he has to get something done with this attack right now. There is a shield battery on the left.
Yeah, there's an Immortal about to pop out here. It's going to be pretty handy versus these Roaches. The Banelings are trying to come through. They're getting kind of log jammed here, coming through the Robo.
It's a big hit. There's a lot of counter damage getting done on Solar's side of the map, but the army here for herO is pretty lackluster, actually. He's going to lose pretty much all the workers here in this base.
They're both going to lose this game state. This is wild.
Oh, there's a lot of DTs about to warp in, though.
Okay, the DTs are going to be huge. I don't see an Overseer around.
No, there isn't a single Overseer on the map. More Zealots getting taken down.
There's enough Zealots. The Roaches can't quite fight them. The DTs are going to come in here. This is such a great game.
Stalkers on the left side, DTs in the middle. Those are +3 attack DTs, by the way. They absolutely shred these units. Just watch these Ravagers HP. They almost get 2-shot.
It's wild. More DTs coming to the front. Solar's army's disappearing.
DTs have done it.
G. Just one G.
Called. Solar goes 0-4 in the group. He's eliminated from Codas after winning last season, and herO is going to advance to face Ryung in the final match.
Man.
This is not the way I expected this group to go.
Whoa, that was a sick game. Okay, so we've got a PVT. for our final match of the day.
And herO looked really solid this series.
Let's see if Ryung's really got the magic, or if Solar was just having such a bad day he can't beat anybody.
Ryung looked pretty good against Solar. herO looked pretty good against Solar. I think both of them have a lot up their sleeves. Solar really not happy with this one, as you can tell. He said coming into this one he was worried he might disappoint his fans by getting an early exit here after winning Codes last season, but GSL champion curse, sometimes the winner gets knocked out the next season. Guys, when we get back, the final match of Group D, Ryung versus herO. One of these gamers going to advance. We'll see you in a minute.
Sometimes I hunt for the storm just to weather it. Prefer them deadly than challenge accepted. And don't get too friendly, my motives are treacherous. There's a thin line between pain and what pleasure is. And on that thin line is me leaving them breathless. Make them aware it's their moment of reckoning. Used to be less of a wreck, now I'm reckless. I'm the best and I still get the best of them. Hold up. Always been the one that got them carrying. Still get a little bloodlust every now and then. Beckoning, follow him, or fall to him like they all doing. I follow my own guidance. I follow my own guidance. Still woke up and chose violence. When I talk, they all silent. Everything said I'm ready for any and everything. Mama said that I could be so many things, but this morning I chose to be menacing. I said everything, baby, everything. Said I'm ready for any and everything. Mama said that I could be so many things, but this morning I chose to wake up and be ready to fight. Everything, everything. Tell them I'm ready for anything. Everything, everything. I swear I'm ready for anything. Bring it on, it's not enough. Baby, I'm ready for everything. Everything, everything. Tell them I'm ready for anything. Too competitive. Had a wrestling match with Mount Everest. Even as prey, I could chase off the predators. You can't run with me, little boy, you too delicate. Hold up! I'm feeling a little bit dangerous, and they looking a little bit anxious. If I'm laughing while I'm twiddling my fingers, it's only a warning that you can't just walk up to me, talking to me. Ain't no telling my reaction, I could black out. This is such an experience, and it's always one I wanna max out. Everything, said I'm ready for any and everything. Mama said that I could be so many things, but this morning I chose to be menacing. I said everything, that means everything. Said I'm ready for any and everything. Mama said that I could be so many things, but this morning I